Hey guys, it's Tim, and this is Wrestling Unlimited, as it's Wednesday, and that means tonight was AEW Dynamite. As far as tonight's AEW Dynamite does go, I will say most of the show was really good. I'll talk about what I didn't like a little bit later with the end of the show. I'm confused about the story because, like, why is MJF wanting to kill Daniel Garcia? But the brutal beatdown of Daniel Garcia, I thought they did very, very well. So overall, I thought this was a good episode of AEW Dynamite. Some confusing things and whatnot, but overall, I would say a positive for AEW tonight. But we also got Luke with us over here. Luke, how are you doing? And what did you think of tonight's AEW Dynamite?
I'm doing pretty good. And as far as Dynamite does go, it was okay. I was a little confused by some things, but the ending I thought was kind of expected, in my opinion.
I'm going to say it right now. They need to get those CEO chants out of Mercedes music. Because literally, they got these chants that makes it sound like the crowd's cheering for her. CEO, CEO. Then when the music stops and they're just booing her and chanting, shut the fuck up. Yeah, no. Then it looks like you're trying too hard to push her as a babyface that she obviously is not. Also, speaking of Mercedes, go off on a little tangent thing here. You see the interview she did yesterday where she was shit talking her husband?
No, I did not see that.
Basically talking about how he made her some gear for a past Money in the Bank pay-per-view, and she hated the gear so much that it made her work bad to where she like tripped almost during her entrance and she just didn't feel confident in the gear. Bitch, you could have told him before or why you saw him making it. You live together. It's your husband. But she was just talking mad shit on him about this gear that gave her no confidence. And she thought she looked ugly in it and this and that. And I'm like, wow, this is your husband? The guy you want to spend your life with, that you're supposed to, quote unquote, love? And you're just shitting all over him. Wild.
I mean that kind of stuff you kind of talk to like behind the doors with them, not just talk crap about him.
But it's like are you surprised that she says stuff like that?
No, I'm not.
Let me see if I can pull it up really fast. Just read the quote. Where is it? I think I have it right here. She said, I was pissed off. I was mad. It was Money in the Bank. He made me this disgusting, ugly lupus green, yellow, white, and navy together. I legit cried and screamed, I'm not gonna wrestle good. This makes me look ugly. I hate it. And I made him feel so bad. I'm like, this is not what I said. All this stuff. And honestly, it didn't make me feel confident when I was out there. I remember doing my entrance and I slipped a little. I was so mad. Like, what? Come on. It's your husband. And you're just shit talking him on a random radio interview.
Maybe there's a reason why WWE didn't want to give her all that money to come back.
Oh, yeah, no. Like, I don't know. Never talked to her. Don't know her. Don't really know anybody that 100% knows her personally. I know people that have had interactions with her. And I would say I know 3 people that have had interactions with her. 2 of the 3 were very negative interactions. Where she was not a nice person to them. For no reason at all. So, yeah. Just saying. Also, we have a super chat here from Falcon Fighter. He says, when do you think Ricochet joins AEW? Well, we've got, a month and a half till, almost 2 months till All In. I would assume he's here before that. I would assume he's on the All In show if he is going to AEW, which many do think he is.
Honestly, I can totally see him just working the indies for a while. Kind of like how Nick Nemeth is doing.
True. Well, he's signed with TNA, and he signed pretty quickly. Yeah, he's doing indie stuff, but he went and signed with TNA. It's not like if he goes to AEW, he can't do indies.
Or what Matt Cardona's doing, just don't sign anywhere, just be like the indie god.
Oh, yeah, that's a whole different story. He's killing it. And I think Ricochet Ricochet is going to get any booking he wants, and many people are going to want to book him. So I think he's not worried because he knows he's going to get work. So I think all will be good for Ricochet. As far as him going to AEW, my one concern is, and I think you and I talked about this off camera the other day, I think he's going to be at that like Rey Fenix level where he's going to be the one that could maybe win the international championship, but you're going to call on him when you go, hey, we need a really good match with Will Ospreay. Hey, we need a really good match with Jon Moxley. Hey, we need a really good match for Hangman. You're not going to win any of these matches, but we know that you're going to give them as close to, if not a 5-star match. And I think that's what Ricochet is going to be in AEW. I don't, and then this is just me not knowing how they're going to use him, not seeing the presentation or anything yet. I just don't think they put him at that top level.
I mean, best I see it is like either international or TNT champion at best. And
yeah,
I mean, I could totally see like Tony Khan like spending a bunch of money to get to buy the Prince Puma trademark for him to use.
That'd be an interesting one. It is still owned by Lucha Underground, so he'd have to buy that out.
Well,
Isn't
that owned by like MLW though?
No, they do Azteca, whatever it's called, completely different company.
Azteca Warfare.
Well, that's the match, but there's also something Azteca something. I don't know. I'm not 100% on MLW, but no, there is a company that when they created Lucha Underground, they created a company, Lucha Underground LLC, and that company still owns all the trademarks from the show. So that is not MLW, or it's all separate. Granted, people like you, I guess, confused with all that because MLW tried to like bring back Lucha Underground per se. But yeah, they just did their own version of it.
I mean, WWE bought the Yeet trademark, like for Jey Uso.
So actually what happened with that, and you can correct me in the chat or the comments if I'm wrong, apparently there was a wrestler that used it before WWE on merch, but didn't have it trademarked. Then WWE made all the Jey Uso merch. That wrestler, then the indie wrestler, then trademarked it. And WWE was like, no, we want it. And that's how they ended up getting it. They bought it off of him. But he trademarked it after realizing WWE wants to use it. It was a whole thing. Yeah. Also, Esports Gaming Rules with a bit donation. He says, Brit Baker DMD going to reference Julia, Rossi, Stardom, and Vince McMahon in, quote, shoot promos towards Monet and call her a quitter. I didn't hear any of that tonight. And no. Tony Khan is not going to let anybody on his show reference Rossi Ogawa. That's not going to happen. And no, she didn't call her a quitter. They just kept calling each other bitch, and it got very annoying. Like, I think WWE a little bit, but AEW more overuses the word bitch. I think Triple H said it perfectly. Blood and swear words have to be used at the right time, and when you overuse them, then next time you use it, it doesn't mean as much. So when you have wrestlers out here, bitch, fuck you, bitch, get to the end of the line. Well, not fuck you, but get to the end of the line, bitch. We're at line, bitch. It's like, okay, so the word bitch means nothing? Because you're just using it. I think Mercedes and Brit tonight used it 3 to 4 times in a 20-second span. And it's like, yeah, no. So
I think it's funny how the fans are the ones that made like Mercedes the heel.
No, Mercedes made Mercedes the heel when she started this boss CEO gimmick. The gimmick is not a babyface gimmick in the least bit. Like, and she doesn't even, I can't say she doesn't play a good babyface, but she is a million times better as the heel.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like, I don't even know how to say it without being mean. Like I said earlier, I know people that have interactions with her and she's like a heel in real life. But with that, we got a bunch to talk about, and I want to say thank you for joining us here. Twitch.tv/PWU Unlimited, YouTube.com/Pro Wrestling Unlimited, and podcast services all around the globe like Stitcher, Spotify, Google Pod, Apple Pod, Anchor, iHeartRadio, and so much more. Remember, if you are watching live on Twitch, you can help us out a couple of different ways. You can either help us out by hitting that donate button down below, or by donating Twitch bits, in the live chat. Also, remember, you can help us out by subscribing to the channel one of 2 different ways. You can either subscribe with a tiered subscription, or you can subscribe with Amazon Prime, because remember, if you have Amazon Prime, then you have Prime Gaming. Prime Gaming gives you a lot of cool things like free games, free stuff for games, and you always get one free subscription to any Twitch channel you want to subscribe to throughout the month. And I'd greatly appreciate it if you did right here, Pro Wrestling Unlimited. Also, remember to help us out on YouTube. Head over there and hit that subscribe button. That way you know when we post new videos. That way you know when we go live. And that way you know when we post to the community tab. Also, if you want to help out the channel another way, you can become a channel member, just like Killjoy Army did tonight at the donation level. And the donation level, greatly appreciated at the $1 donation tier. Even if you can't appreciate the shares and likes and this and that. But if you can, even at the $1 tier, you can do so either here on YouTube or patreon.com/PW Unlimited. And remember, if you want to get your comment, question, or concern read live on the air, you can do so by donating a super chat in the live chat. And finally, head over to the Epic Game Store. Whether you're buying a new game, whether you're buying an old game, whether you're claiming a free game or getting bucks for Rocket League, Fortnite, or Fall Guys, use our code PW Unlimited at checkout, and you will be supporting us at no extra cost. Maybe you're downloading the new first-person shooter Dark and Darker off the Epic Game Store. Maybe you're claiming the free game Sunless Skies Souvenir Edition, or tomorrow the Falconeer. Use the code PWUNLIMITED for all Epic Games and Epic Game Store purchases. Also, we've got Magneto in Fortnite, Magneto skin back in Fortnite. So if you haven't got that yet, go check that out. But with that, we got a bunch to talk about as far as the intro played again. My bad, guys. We got a bunch to talk about as far as tonight's AEW Dynamite does go.
Wait,
go for it.
Do you remember that that video that surfaced that Monet was like lashing out at a fan that asked her if she left WWE due to creative differences?
Oh yeah. I
mean, that was kind of the truth though, but she was trying so hard to deny it.
And then she got on them. Oh, you read everything you see on the internet, and yeah, it was a whole thing. But I've heard that's how she just is. That's just her. That's just her.
And everyone kept saying the fan shouldn't be saying that. He should apologize.
Also, from Monday's podcast, I went back and looked at the predictions. You were right. You did have the Acclaimed. I had the Elite. So
no, I had the Elite actually.
That's what I meant. I had it backwards. I had the Acclaimed. You had the Elite. So you won that one, and we tied because you won that one, and then I won Zack Sabre Jr. Everything else, we had the same predictions. So we tied the predictions.
We always tied, or?
I don't think we've always tied, no. But that one we did, because the ones we picked different, you won one, I won one. Because I'm looking at it right here. I wrote it all, rewrote it down and double checked it. So, as far as
I feel like the Money in the Bank one worked. There's probably going to be a winner for that one.
Well, let me see. Same, different. So we have two matches. The ladder matches, we both... no, the women's ladder we picked different, and the world title match we picked different. Everything else we picked the same. So we'll see how that goes this weekend. But with that, as far as AEW Dynamite, Beach Break from Sunny Beach, Chicago. Yeah, no. Anyways, their reasoning was, we're here in Chicago, close to Lake Michigan. And I had a buddy that lives in Chicago go, yeah, there's nothing beach about this city. I've never been to Chicago, so I don't know. Only what I've seen in photos and videos. Or people that I know from there that have told me about Chicago. But yeah, he messaged me and goes, Beach Break in Chicago? We're the farthest thing from a beach town.
I think I've only been to Chicago twice. The first time I was there for a Bulls game.
Nice.
And the second time, I think I was just there visiting.
Gotcha.
Yeah, the Bulls game, that was back when LeBron was first on the Cavs. I was like in first grade.
Actually, I lied. I've had a layover in Chicago once, but I was literally there for an hour and never left the airport. So technically I haven't
that doesn't even count.
No, it doesn't.
That doesn't count.
But if you want technicalities. But yeah, no, it doesn't really count.
You're only there for like an hour at the airport, that doesn't count.
That's like me saying I've been to Germany, because when we got shipped out to Iraq, we had to stop in Germany at the halfway point to refuel the airplane, and we all got off the airplane so they could refuel it and we could stretch our legs. Other than that, so technically I could say I've been to Germany too, even though I really haven't. But as far as this show does go, AEW Dynamite Beach Break comes on the air with Renee Paquette backstage welcoming us to the show, bringing in, quote, the backbone of AEW, Daniel Garcia, who was joined by Matt Menard. Garcia said that he's no stranger to pressure, but tonight is the most important night of his life. He respects Will Ospreay, but he promises that on his mother's life, he's not losing tonight. So, what happened there, bud? On your mother's life. Anyways, MJF walked in and said that he's proud of Garcia, who told him to focus on tonight instead of Wembley. MJF said that he'd like to be in the corner tonight of Garcia. Garcia accepts, walks away. Menard was then skeptical, but eventually shook MJF's hand and said he's all right with it. Crowd loudly chanted for MJF. So, I don't know, we're going to jump ahead here for a second. What do you think we get at Wembley? Is it Will and MJF, or is it a three-way?
I think it's three-way.
I mean, based off of what we saw tonight, the three-way would make sense. Now, they could do an MJF Garcia match before, and like the winner gets Will Ospreay. But regardless, the way Will Ospreay was acting when he ran back out at the end, he wants Max. So it's either the three-way or Max and Will. I don't think there's any way we go Will and Garcia again, or Will and Max at the pay-per-view. I think it's Ospreay's involved somehow. Ospreay's in this match, and then it's either both or just Max.
Killjoy Army says, is the MJF and Adam Cole feud scrapped then?
Nope.
Well, it's kind of it's on hold right now because Adam Cole's injured.
Yeah, they will get that right back soon as Adam Cole can return. As soon as Adam Cole's good to go, they'll jump right back into that. Maybe not immediately. Maybe they'll slowly skim back into that. But no, they'll go back to that. Tony Khan has stated that, when Adam Cole's ready to come back, then, we'll see the follow-up of what he did last, basically. It's kind of how he said it. But Esports Gaming Rules also has another bit donation. It says, did you watch the WrestleMania XL Behind the Curtain documentary? So I watched what I could. So this documentary started an hour before Dynamite, and it's a 2-hour documentary. So I watched the first hour and then had to basically pause it, stop it, to switch over to Dynamite. So I've seen half of it, and it's pretty good so far. I would say that I like how behind the curtain they've got. Talking about how, Cody's told he's winning the Rumble. He's told, well in advance he's winning the Rumble. Then the day of the Rumble, Triple H had to set him aside and go, you're going to win the Rumble, but you're not main eventing WrestleMania. Triple H then says, and we got to figure out where the story goes if you're not main eventing WrestleMania. He goes, and that's on me. I got to figure that all out. And then there was also a spot where Seth Rollins is talking about, I'm injured. Hopefully I'm as close to 100% as I can be once WrestleMania comes around. And you see him training in a ring with a huge big knee brace on. So, yeah, they went pretty in-depth behind the curtain. The Rock talking about how Brian Gewirtz was the one that kind of really first brought up the idea of the tag match and all this kind of stuff. So I'm liking it so far. I will finish it tonight after we get through this and I do some other work stuff. So go for it.
Sorry. Someone in the YouTube chat says, when will Adam Cole come back?
No one knows.
I have no clue.
Yeah, no one knows.
I know back in April, Fightful reported that his recovery was taking longer because he kept walking on his ankle.
Well, they kept having him travel, and it wasn't really helping. Excalibur welcomes us to ringside alongside Tony Schiavone and Taz as we go right into entrances for the opening match. Bryan Danielson versus Pac in an Owen Hart Cup tournament semifinal match. They stated that these two have had 2 matches in the past, both over 15 years ago, and I think I was able to look up one of them, and it was from 2009. So, yeah, they fought before, but not in a very long time. Crowd cheering and chanting, all kinds of stuff before the match even begins. Danielson had his neck taped up from the Shingo match at Forbidden Door. As back and forth mat work started off early, Pac backflipped out of a leg sweep and dropkicked Danielson right in the face, leading to a nice little stalemate in the middle of the ring. Drop exchange ensued before both men flipped out of the corner, full steam ahead as they collided with a double down spot. Danielson already clutching his neck, but traded forearms as one caused him to collapse, and Paul Turner had his back. Paul Turner had his back to Pac. Danielson then went to the floor, but Pac was right there to hit him with a beautiful springboard moonsault before slapping on a brutalizer back inside the ring. But there was a rope break that took us to a commercial break. Pac then controlled the commercial break. Also, TNT, our TBS app, showed all the picture-in-picture. Usually, like, they'll show a couple or not show any. Nope. I believe I saw all the picture-in-picture this week. So that was a plus for the TBS app. Pac controlled during the break, but Danielson mounted a comeback, backflipping to his feet and hitting a high kick. Pac dodged a baseball slide at ringside, but Danielson connected with a running knee strike from the apron. Danielson then tried to charge, but Pac hit a kick flush and a diving elbow off the barricade, and then another one back inside the ring. There's a tombstone that dropped Danielson right on the top of his head, it looked like. Got some near falls off of it. Pac then argued with the ref, allowing Danielson to apply the label lock. Pac then got to the ropes, but Danielson took too long to climb the ropes and got crotched. As we come down to the finish of the match here, Pac connected with a massive superplex for a 2, wanted the Black Arrow, but crashed and burned. Danielson hit a Busaku knee, but couldn't capitalize in time due to the injury. He's holding his neck a little bit more. Pac then slapped on the brutalizer. Danielson then spun out of it and got a close near fall off of it, flattening Pac out. They traded near falls here. There was a flash crucifix that got Danielson the win. I think we see a little too much of this whole the wrestling. All of a sudden, you just get rolled up and you win. I'm kind of getting tired of it. WWE does it. AEW does it a lot. And it's just like, no, guys should be winning with their finisher. Like I said on Monday, Xavier Woods beat Karrion Kross with the roll-up, small package. But that's his thing, the small package. Like, catching guys and hitting them with a small package out of nowhere. That's been his thing. Granted, that was Danielson's thing back on the indies, but this wasn't even a small package. This was just a crucifix, flash crucifix, got him, hooked him. So, I don't know. I think there's a little too much of this out of nowhere, just roll them up, slip them over pins, but this is just my opinion. After the match, they check on Danielson, as they do after all of his matches now, basically telling us this man is hurting, and we don't know how he's getting through these matches unscathed. But what do you think of the match itself, as Danielson now moves on to the finals next week of the tournament?
I think it was pretty expected. Danielson going to the finals. Yeah, like I do agree. Like the whole roll up ending, like all that just needs to stop.
I don't know about stop, but it needs to be done less.
It doesn't need to like happen like so often.
Yes, 100%. Renee Paquette's backstage with Willow Nightingale, who said, "Tonight, nothing matters. Smile always." The word she lives by, as she could cry nonstop if she didn't look on the bright side. She does it to herself, for the fans, everyone. Chris Statlander and Stokely Hathaway mock her just for it. Nightingale then fired up and said that she's becoming a 2-time Owen Cup winner this year and going on to Wembley to win the AEW Women's World Championship. Nothing matters. Smile anyways. Sorry to tell you, Willow. You can get as far as you want in this tournament. You ain't beating Mariah May. Mariah May and Toni Storm in Wembley is the big match. That's just my opinion.
I mean, I think, it's going to be Mariah May winning the tournament.
Esports gaming rules with a... Go for it. I'll read the donation bit comment after. Go for it.
I figured out how they can play it out. Like, Mariah May wins the tournament. Tony then congratulates her. Like congratulations, you won. But then she quickly realizes, like, uh-oh.
Yeah.
You're my opponent for All In.
That's exactly how I want it to be. I want us to see that moment when Tony realizes what just happened.
And then, like, at All In, they're like playing it out like you're gonna take the pinfall. You're gonna take the pinfall so I can retain my title. And Mariah's like, nope, I'm winning the belt.
Yep. Esports Gaming Rules with a bit donation, thank you for that, says, is the possibility of Shane McMahon and AEW heating up now? I don't know. Because this all started with a Jim Ross suggestion fantasy booking thing. He basically asked, what's a big shocker name from WWE that can go to the AEW that no one would expect? And he's like, Shane McMahon. And then Shane heard that, apparently, started, messaging people to gauge interest, talked with Mercedes on Monday morning at the airport. And so, yeah, I don't know. Nobody knows, to be honest. I don't even know if Tony knows. I mean, he might know. But it's like, if Shane was going to come in, doing it at the Forbidden Door show would have been the greatest time to do it, because that would have been the biggest Forbidden Door, a McMahon showing up. But now it's like, you want to see, oh, wait. You want the best way for Shane to come in here as a heel? The Bucks said tonight they need a fifth man for Blood and Guts. What if they bring in Shane O'Mac to be against Team AEW?
That would be cool, because it'd be like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Would he actually want to compete though?
Shane's gonna want to do something, some big stunt that Vince would have never let him do, even though he did a lot of big stunts. I just feel like Tony's gonna let him do whatever he wants, because Tony lets everybody do whatever they want. And that's another thing Mercedes said. She said she's got full creative control. Speaking of do whatever you want, she said in an interview, so she did a couple interviews this week. She said in one of them, I have full creative control, but me and Tony talk a lot over over creative plans and stuff. But she's their Hulk Hogan. She can yay or nay whatever she wants, basically, it seems like.
I think everybody's their Hulk Hogan.
No, I think she's the worst. I mean, you look at her history and her track record of not getting what she wants. Of course, Tony's going to give her whatever she wants. Anyways, Shane McMahon. I think... I'm just there right now. I don't think he goes to AEW. I could be wrong. But my heart of hearts tells me I don't think it happens.
I mean, yeah, I don't think it happens, but...
It's one that I wouldn't. It's one that I'm so on the fence about. I wouldn't put money on it either way. I don't like if I have to. If you put a gun to my head and said I'm going to shoot you right now, I would say no. If he said shoot you right now to make a decision either way, I would say no. So, but as far as the question of is it heating up, no, because it's not. Though to say it's heating up would mean that they've teased it or they've done something to make you think they're teasing it. That would be heating it up. But the closest thing that they've done is basically Tony saying that I'd welcome him if something were to be able to be done.
Yeah, like as far as heating it up, these are all just fan speculations. There's no actual proof.
Well, true, kind of.
Other than the whole him talking to Mercedes, that was it.
Oh, then Conrad said that he got a message from Shane about, hey, do you really think there could be interest in me in AEW? And then apparently Conrad said that he heard from somebody in AEW that said that Shane reached out to them too. So Shane's talking to people. And apparently that's real. But as far as if anything's going to happen, I'm leaning more on the side of no. So we see footage of the six-man ladder match from Forbidden Door for the vacant TNT Championship that saw Jack Perry win. Now, during the last match, they had told us, later on tonight, we will learn who the first member of Team AEW is in Blood and Guts. We learned that here. Mark Briscoe is in the ring and got the crowd in Chicago going on, chanting and whatnot. Briscoe then said, they might call him chicken, but he's not scared of shit. Briscoe said Jack Perry must have made an extra bowl of Lucky Charms and stuck a horseshoe up his ass in order to win that TNT title. Said that this week is Shark Week. And when he thinks of sharks, he thinks of blood. And blood makes him think of Blood and Guts. Briscoe then declares himself as the first member of Team AEW for Blood and Guts. This then leads to Jack Perry sliding in and cracking Briscoe with the TNT title. Kyle O'Reilly then hits the ring and attacks Perry until Okada appeared and laid him out with the Rainmaker. The Young Bucks then strutted to the ring, hit an EVP trigger on Briscoe, and they stood tall with all their belts. This then led to the Acclaimed and Daddy Ass coming out. The Elite then bailed. Okada hilariously scratched the Continental title like it was a record. So are we to think that it's going to be 5-on-5, so the Elite need one more person, and it's not Hangman? But are we to think that Team AEW is Briscoe, O'Reilly, the Acclaimed, and a fifth? Is that, good way to look at it?
Be Swerve.
Does it, though? Why would it have to be? But why, though?
Because they also kind of because the Elite also kind of tried to mess with Swerve a little bit. They gave Christian Cage a title match.
So could their fifth member be Christian? So if Swerve goes to the other team, could their fifth member be Christian? Does Christian even do a blood and guts match?
I don't think Christian would want to do a blood and guts match.
That is the thing. So Kyle O'Reilly, Kyle O'Reilly and the Acclaimed were not coming out here just randomly. I think they're the other three with Mark Briscoe. Why not just announce that all tonight? Kind of dumb, in my opinion. But on the Elite side, it's like they thought they got Hangman. They didn't get Hangman. He said no. So we gotta figure out who the fifth man there is, and I guess who the fifth man on the other side could be. Because
oh God,
what
if the fifth man for the Elite is Jericho?
I was thinking the same thing. I don't think so, because he's doing the hook stuff.
I mean, I'm trying to think who else it would be though.
Pulling up the roster.
Yeah, that's why I'm looking at the roster right now.
If we look here,
what for Team AEW is Pac, because Pac's always said I've always hated the Elite.
Maybe, but we got the roster right here. So if we look at this, it's not gonna be Adam Cole. It's not gonna be Adam Copeland. They're both out injured. Adam Page said no. I think Bowens is on Team AEW.
Oh, got it.
Who?
Moxley for Team AEW.
I mean, maybe since he's not doing anything with New Japan right now.
It makes total sense.
Could. But does it? What has he done with the Elite, though? Because we're trying to think. You got to think of people that have had beef with the Elite.
Yeah, but he could be one of those guys where he's like, I'm always Team AEW. I've always had their back, and you're trying to tear it down or try to make it all about you guys.
Maybe. You know what I would have liked, but he's, doing the Jericho stuff. What if they would have got Hook on Team AEW because of his past with Jack Perry?
That one. I mean, they could still do that.
I don't know. Big Bill killed Hook tonight. But I'm just looking here. And it's I don't know who else really makes sense.
Mox.
Maybe.
Moxley or Pac. Pac has always had beef with the Elite.
Yeah.
Same with Mox. He's always had beef with the Elite.
I'm looking. Unless, remember last year they brought in Ibushi, who was just not someone that's around all the time. So maybe they bring somebody else in that we're not thinking of because they're not there all the time.
I mean, I would have said if Ibushi was cleared, what if the Elite got Ibushi? He's what if he was Hangman? No, it was Omega didn't bring you in day one, but we want to make it right.
Right. That could work.
Ibushi to join them.
That could work, but that man is messed up right now.
Yeah, he ain't coming back anytime soon.
No. So moving forward, Renee Paquette's backstage with Timeless Toni Storm, who was holding Mariah May at her boob. Paquette asked about May facing Hikaru Shida on Rampage in the Owen. Storm hypes May up and said the last thing she wants is Shida advancing in the tournament. May then said, chin up, tits out, watch for the shoe. And she did all at Tony's bosom. We then had a women's Owen Hart Cup Owen Hart Foundation tournament match. It was Willow Nightingale versus Chris Statlander. Yeah, I thought it was a good match. I thought these two worked very well together. And Statlander tried to run up the ramp to meet Nightingale during her entrance, who pounced Statlander clear down the stage. Snap suplex on the floor by Nightingale continued things as the match officially finally began in the ring. Statlander then went for the eyes and was in control during a commercial break. Both ladies fought on the apron at one point as Statlander wanted a suplex to the floor, but Nightingale shoved her off and Statlander crashed to the outside. Hathaway then tended to his client as Nightingale tried to flatten him with a cannonball, but Hathaway moved and Statlander took a bump. There's a drop kick back inside that connected, as did a lariat that turned Statlander inside out for a 2. Statlander then dodged a doctor bomb and hit an axe kick for another 2. There's a German suplex that dropped Nightingale on her head as Statlander was cut off in the ropes, and Nightingale had an avalanche German of her own. Nightingale was then cut off with a haluva kick, but Nightingale rolled out of the ring and out of a Wednesday Night Fever attempt, and then she got back in. The two kind of traded around for a moment before Willow got a roll-up. Statlander then battled back and hit an F5 for a close near fall. Hathaway then placed a steel chair in the corner before taking the officials' attention. Statlander grabbed a chain. Oh, steel chain, not chair. I wrote it as chair the first time, but it was a chain. Steel chain. Almost decked Stokely with it by accident. Statlander then put on the brakes, but Nightingale got a schoolgirl flash pin. Another tournament win with just a flash pin roll up, whatever. Like, what? Again, you guys see my thing here? Why are we doing this? Both tournament matches here with the same kind of finish? Just random roll up out of nowhere? Come on. Come on. Dumb. Good match, dumb finish. What'd you think?
Yeah, I agree. It was a good match, just a dumb finish. I mean, I kind of expected Willow to win
Oh, yeah, me too.
because they're going to do babyface versus heel in the finals.
Yeah. Mariah and Willow in the final. The finals are next week. Like, they're really rushing this tournament. Like, they announced it like 2-3 weeks ago, and then all of a sudden now they're kind of just like, oh shit, finals are next week. Like they're doing the whole left side of the men's tournament, right side, this week. So it's like, yeah, I don't know. I wish they would have stretched it a little bit.
I mean, that was their issue last year. They kept rushing stuff like so quickly, and they kept stretching it out, and people were getting bored of it.
And like I said last week, that Jay White Ray Phoenix match did not feel like a tournament match. It just felt like another random match on Dynamite. And this match tonight, if you didn't tell me multiple times that this was a tournament match, I would have just thought, oh, we got the grudge match, Willow and Stat. I wouldn't have thought this was a tournament match because it didn't. Like, they told us leading up to the match how many times, it's a tournament match. But then once the match happened, it was like, they said it once or twice. But it just felt like another match that wasn't really all that important. And that's the issue that they've had even last year or the year before with the Owen. Tournament matches don't feel like they're more important than any other match on the show. So
yeah, I agree.
But Renee Paquette's backstage with Jeff Jarrett and his crew as she asked how he's been able to prepare for such an emotional match and how he's able to prepare not knowing who his opponent is. Jarrett then left with Karen. Jarrett and Satnam Singh. With Karen, Jarrett, Satnam Singh, and Jay Lethal and Sanjay Dutt said tonight, Jarrett pays tribute to one of his good friends, Owen Hart. Did you ever see that 9-minute video that they posted of Jeff Jarrett just talking about his friendship with Owen?
I did not know.
Oh my God. You watched that video and you're sitting, like, I watched it and I know other people that watched it and they were like, fuck, if the winner wasn't getting a title match at All In, Jeff Jarrett should have won based off of that video and promo that he cut. Like, they made everybody think, Jesus, Jeff Jarrett should win this whole thing. But then when you think, well, the winner's getting the title shot at Wembley, never mind.
I wouldn't go that far as like having him like win the whole tournament.
Oh, if it was just like the last 2 years where the winner just gets nothing, yeah, based off of that promo, he should win. But now that there's stakes involved, no. But like, Jeff Jarrett cut the hell of a promo, making everyone feel for him and being like, oh no, this man should win to pay tribute to Owen. Because you got to think, him and Owen, they're very, very close. Tony Schiavone's in the ring. Speaking of people that are close, he called out his good friend, Dr. Brit Baker, DMD. Tony Schiavone put over the fans in Chicago before welcoming her to the ring. Said it's the first time in nearly a year we have seen the doctor on Dynamite. Schiavone gave her a big hug before Taz told him on commentary to hit the bricks, as Baker was met with loud welcome back chants. And she says that she's missed the fans. Baker said that she wanted to talk about the past, present, and future. The past, for the last 10 months, she was injured. But back in November, she was banged up. And mentally, she was running on empty. One day, she felt really sick. Blurry vision, and her right arm was numb. And she spent a week in the hospital. And her brain wasn't getting enough blood and was almost to the point of a mini stroke. And I'm like, fuck. That's wild. She said she knew at that moment that she wasn't good. Tony Khan told her, stay home, feel better, and you tell us when you're ready to return. The present. Well, she's here, cleared and healthy. But she was never more nervous than at Forbidden Door. When she needed wrestling and the fans the most, they welcomed her back with open arms. So, she'll always be in their corner. The future, well, that's her motivation. She said, we all possess the impulse to be elite. Speaking of the elite, they have a new female face of All Elite Wrestling, saying it's brilliant to manipulate the fan base by piping in the letter CEO in her entrance music. And I go, no, she's not the female face. The female face is supposed to be the world champion, Toni Storm. I hate how they're pushing Mercedes bigger than Tony, who's the world champion. If you wanted Mercedes to be the tippy top female, then you should have had her beat Toni Storm, not Willow, for the TBS title. That's just my opinion. I don't know how you feel on that, but it's like Toni Storm is the women's world champion, doing great work. Granted, I'm not the biggest fan of the gimmick, but I feel like it's working. It's getting over. She's committed so hard. But then, I don't know. I just feel like they're not. Yeah. I'm not a big fan of this whole Mercedes is the top female. No, it's supposed to be your top champion. That's like saying, oh, when Gunther was the Intercontinental Champion, he was really the top champion on Raw, not Seth Rollins in the world title, So I don't know. Britt said that she doesn't need entrance music to tell the fans her letters. They all know she's the DMD. Monet was booed loudly once Baker brought up her name. We then hear a car horn. Ha, ha, ha. On the big screen, a car pulls up to the arena. Mercedes gets out and she's met with the Young Bucks. They congratulated her on becoming a double champion, saying that she's the CEO they can get behind. The Bucks tell her, and this right here solidifies to us, yeah, they flipped the script. They don't want to try to push her as a babyface anymore. Her now being friends with the Elite, she's a heel. She's a full-on heel.
The fans basically made her a heel.
Yeah, for the most part.
Because,
blew the shit out of her and told her, shut the fuck up tonight.
Yeah, they didn't really care for her ever since she showed up, if I'm being completely honest.
Also, never mind. I'll get to it in a second, because she says something about Forbidden Door that made me, want to turn this off. So the Bucks tell her celebration is waiting in the ring. And so Britt Baker's still in the ring, and they just start setting up balloons and stuff in the ring for her celebration. And I'm like, okay, this is stupid as shit. This is fucking dumb. So Baker stood her ground in the ring as Monet made her way to the ring. CEO chants in her music, and as soon as her music stops playing, we hear the crowd booing loudly. Very. So Baker said that she gets it. She outshined her moment at Forbidden Door. Now you're here to do the same to me. Monet said that everything Baker does is irrelevant, and she And she's interrupted by shut the fuck up chants before saying that Baker needs to look at what a real champion looks like. Mercedes also said, go for it.
Sorry, I cut you off. But speaking of Forbidden Door, guess how I watched like Forbidden Door?
I don't know, on a phone.
No, so like I only watched the last 2 matches.
Okay.
I was scrolling through TikTok, and then someone was like streaming it like on their TV.
Ha, that's funny.
I was like, you know what, this is good enough for me. I'll watch it.
Right. So she then says, by becoming the double champion, I put Forbidden Door, or what did she say? I didn't write it down, but she said, hold on, I tweeted it, but I didn't write it in my notes. She said, I'm going to pull this here. This is preposterous. She said, by becoming a double champion this past weekend, I made Forbidden Door famous. And my first thought was, girl, you weren't even the best wrestler in the match. Everybody that I've either heard review this show or that I've talked to about this show said Stephanie Vicure out-wrestled Mercedes the entire match, and Stephanie Vicure was the better wrestler in that match. So to say your performance and you winning the titles made Forbidden Door a thing and relevant and famous, shut the hell up. So Baker then simply says, All In. She says, I wrestled the first All In right here in Chicago. I was the first female to become All In with AEW, which technically you weren't. That was Brandy, but that's beside the point. And she said, and I competed last year at All In Wembley. And this year, or she said, I competed last year at Wembley while you sat in the crowd looking like a broken bitch with a broken leg. And it says, now this year, I want to challenge you to a match at All In. Monet shoves her aside and says that she needs to get in the back of the line, bitch. Baker then says, what line, bitch? Because looks like nobody cares about Mercedes. Monet then hit her and said, get to the back of the line again, and held up her 2 titles. I didn't like this segment really at all. I liked the Brit stuff. Brit just being so genuine, telling us what happened, why she was gone, all the issues and everything. But then once Mercedes came out, it just killed it for me. I didn't like Mercedes' performance here, I guess you would say. What'd you think of all this?
I don't know. I mean, the Brit stuff was good. Very
Yes.
Very oh geez, I didn't even know this happened.
Nobody did.
But the Mercedes stuff I hated. I really did.
Yeah. I didn't like it either.
And the fans even hated it as well. The fans were telling her to get out.
Yep. So, I don't know. But it looks like it's going to be Brit and Mercedes at All In. So we'll see.
Would it be for both titles or just the TBS one?
I don't know. If I'm thinking right now, so if it's for both, then that tells us Mercedes wins. If it's just for one, then it's not as predictable. So I think it's just for one.
I'd just go TBS because
same.
It's AEW's belt, and I don't think New Japan wants to take the strong title off of her yet.
No. I can honestly see Mercedes hold that strong belt all the way till the Wrestle Dynasty show on January 5th. The big Forbidden Door in Japan.
Wait, didn't Tanahashi say all the strong belts will only be defended on U.S. soil?
Oh, maybe he did. I forgot about that.
So she can't really defend it.
Yeah, you're right.
If it's
I'm trying to think. Well, no, I think what he meant was the strong titles will be defended. You might be right on that one, but he could have also said, the strong titles will be defended outside of Japan, no longer defended in Japan. But I don't know. We'll have to see how that all plays out. But I do think probably just the TBS title. So we got footage from the main event of Forbidden Door, as Will Osprey refused to use the screwdriver given to him by Don Callis. It cost Osprey the match, and he's backstage with Renee Paquette and Kyle Fletcher. Osprey couldn't get a word out before Don Callis walked up. Osprey said that it wasn't Callis' fault. He took out the ref, and he didn't have the guts to use the weapon or the Tiger driver. he said that he might not be the guy Callis thought he was. Callis, the guy who gave him Kenny Omega and Chris Jericho last year. Now, he wants to be done with the Don Callis family. Don says, usually I don't just let people go out of contracts that they've signed to be with me. But for you, I'm happy to let you go. I understand it. But just know one day, I may be calling for a favor. Callis then gives him a big hug and glares right into the camera like, big favor, it's going to kill you. And the whole time, Kyle Fletcher's face is just like he did not expect Osprey to say, I don't want to be in the Don Callis family anymore. But I do think this is going to lead to something where Don's going to either use someone in the Don Callis family or bring somebody new in to try and kill Osprey. Well, not kill him, but you know what I mean. So what'd you think of all this? Because I thought this was a really good segment that is going to build something up, but maybe not till after All In, because we know right now he's doing the MJF stuff. So this could be some foreshadowing for past All In.
I think this could happen at All Out.
Maybe. That's a good one. I didn't think about that. That's 2 weeks later.
Because I can view it as like, ooh, I got it.
Let me say one thing really fast. I just don't want whatever this is going to be rushed before All In. Give us hints and teases of Don saying, no, I'm fine. Like Kyle Fletcher asking him, are you really good with Will leaving and this and that? Like do the little hints and teases of Don's not, but he says he is. But I just don't want them to rush this before All In to try and get it in before that. You know what I mean?
What if Don Callis screws Will Ospreay out the international belt at All In?
Aligns with Mott or MJF?
What
if MJF joins the Don Callis family? I doubt it, but
no, I wouldn't go that far. I just think he just screws Ospreay over of the belt, and then maybe at All Out we get Ospreay versus Kyle Fletcher. So the interesting thing there is when Don Callis left, he goes to walk off. He goes, Kyle, let's go. And Kyle's like looking at Ospreay, and Ospreay's looking at him like, you're really gonna go with him? And Kyle's kind of like got that look of, I have to. But I was thinking that too. Maybe it's Kyle Fletcher that's the one that they put up against Will Ospreay. Just saying. I think that'd be a really interesting story. Where it's like, who's the other person Aussie Open?
So it's Mark Davis. He's out injured, and they kind of won't talk about it because Tony was asked about it, and he was like, oh, yeah, he'll be back when he's back. And Kyle Fletcher was asked about it like a week or so ago in an interview, and he was like, all I'm going to say is he's out with an injury. It's his story to tell. I can't say much more. So I don't know what's going on with Mark Davis, but he is out injured.
It was only like a broken wrist, right?
Oh, I don't know. It seems like it might be worse. Because the way that like no one wants to comment on it, I don't know. Unless there's more that we just don't know about past the injury.
Probably.
Esports Gaming Rules with another bit donation here says, will you do an update on Io Sky and AJ Styles WWE crossover match in Marigold and Noah? Yeah, when there's an update, but there isn't. We just know that AJ's fighting Marufuji, and we don't know anything about Io's opponent, at least that I've seen. So I'll give you updates when there are updates. But right now, with AJ, there's not going to be an update till the match actually happens. With Io, I don't know when they announce her opponent.
But they already did.
I don't think they have. Let me see. Io.
I could be wrong though. I thought they did.
Not that I've seen. I know she like challenged Utami. So I think that's the match. Maybe it is. Hold on, let me see. Is it officially Utami? It might be. Yes, it is. Okay, so it was announced when they announced Io was coming in, they also announced it was Utami at the same time. So interesting. I never saw that deal there. Huh. Yeah, it's gonna be, and I don't know how to say, like Utami Hayashishida, I think it is. I'll have to go back and see what I reported on that. But that's the Marigold show. I want to say that's the same day as the Noah show. AJ's working. Hold on. AJ Styles, Noah. I think they're both the 13th. Yeah, they're both July 13th. Both shows on the same night. Interesting. Anywho, Chris Jericho makes his way out to the ring. He brings security with him, and security stands in front of Taz at commentary. Jericho said that Hook committed one of the biggest sins you can in pro wrestling at Forbidden Door, stealing somebody else's finisher, which doesn't work for him, brother. Also, Taz acted like a mark by cheering for his son. He then talked to the Young Bucks and said he's doing commentary tonight, and because of that, Taz has got to leave. He got a executive order from the EVPs. And so not only does Taz have to leave commentary, he must be escorted out of the Wintrust Arena. Security then escorted Taz away from commentary, and Jericho joined for the next match. Mojo, Hook, and Katsuyori Shibata against Cage of Agony. So, yeah. I don't know what that's all about. And then, like, the match was just a match. Like, I couldn't care for this match. I never got into it at all. It was just a match that Samoa Joe, Hook, and Katsuyori Shibata won by all three choking out opponents. Like, this match was just nothing. If I'm going to be completely honest. It was all post-match. So, I got some notes here. I didn't get much. The match broke down after a commercial break at one time as Cage hit an F5 on Shibata, tried one on Hook, but he countered it into a DDT. Joe made the tag and ran wild with a snap power slam, an STO, and a Manhattan drop before Shibata and Hook joined in for locomotion corner strikes. Double suplex into a senton for a near fall as the match again broke down. Cage, Leona, and Khan tried triple suplexes, but everyone floated over and got on chokeholds, and they all passed out, causing the match to just be over. Then we get the post-match. And basically, Big Bill and Brian Keith show up with chairs to attack. And so the Learning Tree, the Jericho Vortex, whatever they're called, are attacking Shibata, attacking Joe, and attacking Hook. And the whole freaking time on commentary, they're talking about, what would Taz have done if he was out here? Taz got removed from ringside, so this can happen. But I'm like, what the hell would Taz have done? Nothing. Like, let me ask you, what would Taz have done if he was still there on commentary and this was all happening? Just being like, this is not great. This is bad. This shouldn't be going, but just talking crap. Like, what would Taz have really done? They're playing it up like Taz would have stopped this, or if Taz was there, it would have never happened. That's so dumb. This was the other thing other than the Mercedes thing that I didn't like. Them playing up the whole, this wouldn't happen if Taz was still out here. Taz wouldn't have done shit.
Yeah, like Taz never does anything anyway.
There's the one time he got in the ring with Jericho and Hook and got, like, knocked down. Other than that, Taz wasn't going to stop all of this. But Excalibur said it at least 4 or 5 times. This wouldn't happen if Taz wasn't escorted. Is this why Jericho needed to get rid of Taz? Is this why Taz? And they kept saying, Taz may not even know this is happening because Taz was, escorted out of the building. Taz isn't even here anymore. Blah, blah, blah. I'm like, come on. You really going to think we're dumb? And we think that Taz would have actually, like, done something here? No. Also, Brian Keith, if he was hurt, he ain't hurt no more. Took that sling off, and he was going to town. He Pillmanized the arm of Shibata, Bill and draped Joe over the steel steps and hit multiple chair shots. Jericho put on brass knucks and laid out Hook. There was a chance of, please retire from the Chicago crowd. And they weren't done yet. They put a table in the ring, and Big Bill gave him a huge, and I mean huge, choke slam through that table. So, yeah. Cool. Like, great beatdown. But commentary pulled me out of it doing the whole, does Taz even know this is happening? What would happen if Taz was still out here? I'm like, no, Taz wouldn't have done shit.
All right.
Yeah. So another super chat from Falcon Fighter. He says, what is your guys' biggest AEW what if? Like, what is a fantasy booking moment we would like to see?
I think I think they meant like what if this happened or what if this didn't happen?
Gotcha.
So like for WWE, for example, like
Cody never
what
came
if Rock
back?
never went to Hollywood?
Or what if Cody didn't leave AEW to go back to WWE? That's my thing. What if Cody never left? That's my big what if. How would this company look if Cody, or would Cody be the biggest babyface in all pro wrestling right now if he didn't leave AEW? That's my biggest what if. What if Cody didn't leave? You got to think that. You got to think that's the biggest what if for both companies. What if Cody didn't leave AEW? What if Cody didn't go back to WWE?
WWE would probably not be the way they are right now if it wasn't for Cody.
I don't know.
I think instead of Cody, it'd probably be Seth as like their big guy.
Yeah, 100%. He'd be their top babyface. He'd be the guy. So, but it's just like that's the biggest what if, not just in AEW, but in pro wrestling of the last 5 years. What if Cody remained with AEW?
I'm trying to think of another one. It's kind of hard because like AEW's only been around for like 5 years.
Yeah. Another big what if. Go for it.
What if Kenny Omega signed with WWE instead of AEW?
Okay. On that note, then, what if when their contracts were up last summer, the Elite all left and went to WWE instead of re-signing with AEW? Remember, it was all 5 of them. 4 of them.
Tony Khan might as well just wave the flag, then give up.
I wouldn't go that far, but it would have been like, yeah.
It would have been awkward to like have the company keep going without those guys, though.
I mean, yeah, because I mean, Cody was gone, they were gone. Yeah, no, it's that stuff. What if they would have left when their contracts were up, and what if Cody would have stayed? So, I think those are my 2 big what ifs.
I think another I don't think this one was really that big, but it's also like something to think about. Like, what if Nick Aldis went to AEW like when it first started?
I don't think that would have made a big difference. Like, he's great, but I don't know what kind of a big difference that would have made. He probably would have had a few good matches with Cody. Maybe, a couple good matches with Kenny. But other than that, I don't see nothing against Nick Aldis. I just don't see him like being a huge, major game changer as a wrestler in AEW. Now, as the SmackDown general manager, huge game changer. He is perfect for that role. I think he's just a great talker and on-screen character. Great wrestler, too. I love watching Nick Aldis matches. But the role he's in right now at WWE, he is, like, made for that role. He is perfect in that role.
I think another one is, like, what if the Lucha Bros join the Inner Circle instead of Santana and Ortiz?
Hey, what if Pentagon leaves when his contract's up next month? His contract's up in August. WWE is apparently interested.
I would love to see the Lucha Bros in NXT.
I'd want to see him just go straight to the main roster. I think
I don't know, have them build up on NXT for like
kind of like they do with Dragon Lee.
Months. Yeah, do it for like 6 months and then bring them up to the main roster.
Screw it. Okay, I got it. To put them in NXT, and their first feud should be with the Good Brothers. I think them versus Anderson and Gallows would be a great feud to bring them in on. They're the baby. Like, Anderson and Gallows are beating people up backstage. They're just doing what they do as heels, and the Lucha Bros come out to stop them, make the save. Because I'm pretty sure there's history there. Let me see.
Brothers versus brothers?
There you go. Well, they're not real brothers. The Gallows and Anderson aren't brothers. Lucha Bros versus...
Are they real brothers, like Lucha Bros?
Yeah. I'm trying to see if we've ever had Gallows and Anderson versus the Lucha Bros. Bros versus Anderson. Whoa, that's not what I wanted. Like, this match had to have happened somewhere when they were... Oh, maybe not. I'm not seeing this anywhere. Huh. Maybe they haven't had a match before. I was just thinking, they had to have done something in like TNA or whatnot, but maybe not. Nope.
Yeah, I don't know.
Regardless, though, I think the Lucha Bros versus Gallows and Anderson would be a great match. Have them come in on that, like a first feud thing. That would have been great. So, we got another match in the Owen Hart Cup tournament. It is Jeff Jarrett versus the Wild Card. So Jeff Jarrett comes out. His crew comes with him, but he tells them to go to the back, and he goes to the ring all by himself. He's standing there, and we hear music we've never heard before. But as soon as we see the video on the screen, we know who it is because there's a horse in this video, and it is the return of Hangman Adam Page. And what did you think of Hangman's new music? I didn't hate it, but his old theme was like my favorite theme in wrestling.
I mean, his old theme was pretty good. I think this new theme is probably supposed to make him like a heel.
I think he's a heel.
He's probably just gonna be one of those heels where he's like, I'm not aligned with anybody. I'm my own guy.
Think about this. He walked out of the babyface tunnel. The tunnel on the right is the babyface tunnel, and that's where he came out. So think about that.
Yeah, but
because they do the TNA thing where heels come out one way, babyfaces come out the other way. So
I think eventually he'll probably be heel. But he's probably just gonna be one of those heels where he's like, I'm not aligned with anybody. I'm my own guy.
Well, that's basically what he said tonight when the Young Bucks approached him.
Right.
So Page came out, mean mugging the camera, looked like he's ready to just kill somebody. And so really, this got us thinking, oh, he's aligned with the Elite. He's a bad guy. He's going to be their hitman guy. Like, they need someone that can go out there and just have a great match and kill somebody. They're going to call on him. That's not exactly what he is. So referee Aubrey Edwards steps between the two men. Page got in a cheap shot and delivered rapid punches. Jarrett fired off a punch of his own, tried to charge, and Page laid him out with a very hard clothesline. Jarrett then went to the apron as Page was quickly out and powerbombed him on the edge of the ring. Page then violently slammed Jarrett's head repeatedly into the ring steps as we went to a picture-in-picture break. Back from the break, both traded shots on the apron. Page bit at Jarrett's head and wanted to go for the Deadeye, but Jarrett hit a stroke off the apron. Both narrowly beat the count to get back in the ring as Jarrett tries hulking up and fired off some punches and bunches before teasing a sharpshooter. Page escaped, but Jarrett paid homage to Owen by hitting an enziguri. Each then started trading finishing attempts as Jarrett again tried to go for the sharpshooter, but Page went to the eyes and hit a Deadeye. A very unsettling look on Page's face here as the crowd haunted him with Swerve's House chants, which I didn't expect that. Page then wanted a buckshot lariat, but Jarrett collapsed. It was a ruse as Jarrett suckered Page in, trying to get him again. He tried to sweep the feet out and sink in another sharpshooter, this time actually getting it in. But Page got to the ropes to break the hold. Page then pulled Jarrett throat first into the ropes, hit the buckshot lariat, and pounced on him with punches and punches. And he's like just ground and pounding until eventually Aubrey's trying to pull him off. And I'm like, whoa, unless Jarrett is out per se, why is the referee pulling Hangman off? Let him fight. So as Aubrey is pulling Hangman off of Jarrett, Hangman is actually pulling Jarrett to his feet, puts him up for the Deadeye, holds him for a second, and plants him. 1, 2, 3, picks up the victory. So Hangman wins. Hangman's back. And Hangman advances in the tournament, and I think it's on Collision, will face Jay White. What did you think of this before we get to the post-match and all that, the backstage interview and stuff?
I mean, match was all right. We kind of knew Hangman was winning anyway. I think Hangman wins the whole tournament.
Same here. I think Hangman wins, and it's Hangman and Swerve in the main event of Wembley.
And Hangman probably wins.
That's a tough one. Maybe. So,
hey, like,
go for it.
There's got to be a title change at All In somehow.
So Page,
like in the main event, like there has to be a title change in the main event.
Not necessarily. Not always.
It needs to happen though, like eventually.
I mean, did it last year? No.
No. But I don't know. I feel like it should happen this year.
So Page storms.
I mean, that's just me. I'm sure other people
I get it. I get it
differently.
Page stormed straight to the back as Tony Schiavone said that was one of the worst performances he's ever seen. Karen Jarrett intended to her husband. Brit Baker's backstage with a pacing Hangman Adam Page, who was approached by the Young Bucks. They told Paquette to scram. The Bucks said that Page could thank them at any time and said that they'll scratch their backs as long as he scratches theirs. They wanted him to be the fifth man in Blood and Guts. He then grabbed Matthew by the jacket, pulls him in close, and says, "I'm not a child, and I don't need their shit anymore. I'm not with the elite. No more bullshit, no more games. I'm here to be in the Owen, and I'm going to win the Owen." He then shoves Nicholas before storming out. I like this. It's basically like, I'm not taking any bullshit. I'm just going to be a hard ass that's going to beat people's ass. I'm going to win this goddamn tournament. And I think the finals of this tournament next week is him and Bryan Danielson. This match is going to rule. And I think, as many people want to see Danielson win, I think it is Hangman.
Yeah, it's going to be Hangman.
I could be wrong, but my gut's telling me, and I said it from the jump before we even knew who the wild card was. When the Elite first said, we're bringing in a wild card, my prediction was Hangman. Hangman all the way, so I'm sticking.
Oh, I got it.
The Elite screw him out of the finals.
Gosh dang it. God.
The Elite screw him, and then he faces Jack Perry at All In or something for the TNT title.
I was going to say that.
Or Okada. Okada and Hangman at All In.
I think
that'd be the better match. That'd be the better match.
Yeah, I was going to say that.
My bad.
You're fine.
So, moving forward, our main event, Will Osprey versus Daniel Garcia with MJF at ringside for the AEW International Championship. Garcia tried going after the bad back of Will Ospreay as soon as the match started, but Ospreay fired up with the chop that sent Garcia into the corner. MJF prep talked Garcia, who had a fast sequence of takeovers. Ospreay then tried to spring out of a head scissor, but Garcia seemingly turned it into a very short pile driver, something I hadn't really seen before. It was an interesting looking pile driver. Garcia then tried corner punches, but Ospreay trapped the head and hit a cheeky Nando's kick before a slingshot crossbody outside. MJF encouraged Garcia before staring down Ospreay as we went to a commercial break. Garcia fired back as things returned from the break, multiple swinging neck breakers and a spike DDT. Just like that, Ospreay battled back with a pip cheerio for the double down. Ospreay recovered first and fired off some Kawada kicks as Garcia tried to fight through the pain. Ospreay gave Garcia an open shot, but Garcia opted for his dance instead, thrusting in Ospreay's face before hitting a Saito suplex. Garcia took too long to follow up from the suplex and ran right into a standing Spanish fly for a 2. There's a Stormbreaker, countered by Garcia into like a Deadeye variation for a 2 of his own. A wall walk enziguri from Ospreay, who tried another Spanish fly, but floated over into a powerbomb for a 2. Ospreay held on into a Styles clash for yet another near fall as the Chicago crowd went wild. Ospreay then signaled for a hidden blade as Garcia hit a flying rear naked choke, transitioned into a guillotine. Ospreay planted Garcia on his face as they traded home run shots, and Garcia dodged an Os cutter into a spike pile driver for a 2. MJF would then slide Garcia the Dynamite Diamond Ring. He looked at it a little bit too long, and MJF's like, use it, go for it, do it. And then they traded pin attempts before turning Ospreay inside out with a lariat. MJF pleaded with Garcia to use the ring once again, but he gave it back to MJF. And when he turns around, he gets decked with a flying hidden blade. Ospreay pins him 1, 2, 3. Before we get to this post-match is big. What did you think of the match itself? I thought the match, in all honesty, I thought Ospreay and Garcia worked well together. But for where we got, the MJF stuff made sense. But in the moment, I was kind of just like, oh, more of this outside focusing on the outside guy more, stuff that AEW likes to do. But yeah, it all made sense in the end. What do you think of the match itself?
I mean, match was good, but I feel like they focused too much on MJF and the outside.
Well, I mean, they kind of had to with that post-match beatdown.
They did. I know, but still.
So post-match.
Garcia, I know. Like, I'm not arguing, but
well, no. I'm reading my notes here. I literally wrote post-match.
Yeah,
post-match.
My bad.
Garcia's kind of sitting in the corner crying that he was defeated, and Osprey goes over to him to try and cheer him up, and he like signals to the crowd. He's like, Daniel Garcia, everybody. He's like, they still love you. Kind of like similar to what Swerve and did with Osprey this past weekend at Forbidden Door. And so MJF comes in the ring to check on Garcia and saying that, you know, this was on me. I screwed up. I'm sorry. MJF then helps Garcia to his feet, raised his hand, and hugged him. Before, well, MJF turned back into the scumbag. MJF kicks Garcia low, right in the nutsack. MJF then put on the diamond ring and was about to go for a shot on Garcia when Matt Menard would run down, jump up on the apron, and take the shot instead. Garcia struggled to his feet and was knocked out with the ring as Garcia was now bloodied. Menard was at ringside. Christopher Daniels and Rocky Romero would run down to try and stop this. They brought a bunch of agents and stuff. They were pleading with MJF, who had Garcia up on the second rope in a tombstone position. He would then hit an avalanche tombstone on Daniel Garcia. Looked like Garcia landed right on his head, back of his neck. Like, this did not look good. Great visual for the move and everything, but hopefully Garcia's not actually hurt off of this because he did not look like he took a good bump here. Will Ospreay's then seen running back down to the ring. MJF notices and bails. He then spit at some fans, got in their face, threw some trash around, and Garcia was loaded on a backboard, stretchered out of the arena, and Daniels told Ospreay, we're going to take care of this. Don't worry about it. We're going to get him. We're going to take care of it. And Ospreay is visibly upset, and he wants nothing more than to go after MJF. So, great post-match, but I hope it's just not, oh, MJF beat up Daniel Garcia to get to Will Ospreay, and Garcia's now out of this. I hope there's more follow-up with Garcia, and it wasn't like Garcia was just used as the transition, you know? Also, we don't know why MJF 1 week was super nice to Garcia, and then this week beat his ass down. Why? What's the story there? Are they going to, I guess they'll tell us next week maybe? Well, actually, MJF is opening this week's Collision. Well, maybe that is when he tells us why he did what he did. He will be the opening thing on Saturday's Collision, which is going head-to-head with Money in the Bank. What did you think of the post-match?
Post-match was kind of epic, in my opinion. A lot of blood.
Well, it looked like a lot of blood, but then when they were stretchering Garcia out, I barely saw any blood on his face. So I don't know if they wiped his face off or anything. Also, to me, it looked like Garcia was kind of turning purple for a moment there. I don't know if you saw that. When they did like the sky cam shot of him on the board, I'm like, oh, his face is a little purple. That's not good. So, great post-match, though. I will say that for sure. But with that, let's get the poll going here on Twitch. Go for it.
I actually thought of like once they had MJF turn heel again. What if Adam Cole returns? They're both heels, and we get Better Than You, Baby, as like just two big scumbags.
You can't do that though, with the way that the Devil Adam Cole took him out. I don't know. That I get where you're coming from, and it would be cool.
Well, if they're like,
I just don't think it would make sense.
Like, they're both the devil, though.
Oh Lord! Now you're trying a little too much, in my opinion. I mean, I get it, and I see how it could make sense, but now I think you're just trying a little too hard. But as far as this week's Rampage, Collision, and next week's Dynamite, a couple things have been announced. Mariah May versus Hikaru Shida in a Owen Hart Cup match, and Roosh versus Commander. On Collision, MJF will kick off the show. Hangman Page will take on Jay White in a Owen Hart Cup match, and Timeless Toni Storm will fight Trish Adora in a non-title match. As far as next week's Dynamite does go, Bryan Danielson will be in the finals of the Owen Hart Cup against the winner of Hangman and Jay White. Willow will be in the match, or in the finals, against the winner of Mariah May and Hikaru Shida. And then Swerve Strickland will be on next week's show as well. So there we go. That is everything that has been announced for the next week of AEW programming thus far. But with that, you know what we thought of tonight's AEW Dynamite. Now it's time to hear what you guys thought of tonight's show as we go and refresh all the polls. Bing, bang, boom. As far as the Threads poll does go, 92% liked the show, 8% thought it was just all right. As far as the Twitter X poll does go, 61% liked the show, 19% thought it was just all right, and 19% didn't like it. Wow. Exact same on YouTube community poll. 61% liked the show, 19% thought it was just all right, and 19% didn't like it. Some of the comments here says, we got Psycho Page and Unhinged MJF. LFG. Chris says, welcome back, Brit Baker and Adam Page. Well, the Brit Baker thing is, she was gone for 10 months due to real injuries. Page was gone because he had some family things that they let him take time off for or whatever. It says, the whole show was really good. I knew MJF was going to turn heel after Osprey interrupted him last week. MJF and Osprey could be a banging feud. I mean, I think that's the match for the international title at Wembley. Person called the show a banger. Person says they really enjoyed it. This person says best Dynamite in months. I can see that. One of the better Dynamites in months. I can see that for sure. And this person says the only good part of the show was when MJF beat down Garcia. As far as the YouTube live poll does go, again, pretty similar numbers here. 68% liked the show, 18% thought it was just all right, and 14% didn't like it. And as far as everybody that voted on Twitch, 50% thought it was just all right, 50% didn't like it. With that, guys, that is going to wrap everything up. I want to say thank you for joining us here. Twitch.tv/PWU Unlimited, YouTube.com/Pro Wrestling Unlimited, and podcast services all around the globe like Stitcher, Spotify, Google Pod, Apple Pod, Anchor, iHeartRadio, and so much more. But Luke, tell them where they can find you.
You can find me over at Twitter X at Petke_21. And you can also find me over at Twitch at YoungGrassHopperLuke.
With that, guys, have a great rest of your night. Have a great rest of your week. Have a great 4th of July tomorrow. I'm going to take my daughter in the morning to see Despicable Me 4. Then we're going to have some friends over for 4th of July and whatnot. But then I'll be back Friday evening for Friday Night SmackDown, because that should be a good show with that follow-up to the Bloodline Paul Heyman segment. So we'll see you back here live on Friday following SmackDown. Then also remember, we got Money in the Bank Saturday night and Heat Wave Sunday night. So we got 3 days in a row coming up of live streams reviewing shows. But with that, guys, have a great night, and we'll see you next time. Have a good one, guys.